year, late last year. So Gore doesn't even have his updated to his talking points. You asked about how to defeat this. The bottom line is the Republicans, surprise, surprise, are actually doing a pretty good job in the House right now. They're unified. A couple Republicans have introduced a carbon tax as a sort of diversion, from what I gathered, because all the liberals, that would be their dream, but it's not politically doable. But the bottom line is Republicans are doing pretty well, led by Congressman Joe Barton. The Democrats are doing very well. One of the Democrat agricultural chairmen said he's off the train. He will not support a climate bill. Waxman, the committee in charge of this in the House, Congressman Waxman has basically said no votes, no problem, and he's talking about bypassing the committee if he doesn't have the votes to bring.
How do we stop cities? How do we stop cities and states doing it?
Well, the bottom line is the American people are absolutely have indicated every way possible that not only don't they care about this issue, they couldn't give a damn about this issue. It ranks dead last among all issues. Among environmental issues, it ranks dead last. Eventually, the American people have to wake up. I think there's been such complacency. They have no idea what's going on. The first thing we need to do is demand accountability among Republicans to stop paying lip service. George Bush enjoyed paying lip service to global warming fears, and we need to stop that first. There's no reason to concede an inch on the science on this. It's collapsing underneath them. It's a laughingstock. Just in the last few days, Arctic information came out. Danish Meteorological Institute. The Arctic has stayed the same since the 1950s. Has probably cooled since 1940s. We just came out the Greenland melt scenarios touted by Al Gore and NASA's James Hansen. Not even doable. The whole
hey,
idea
Marc Morano. Mark, we've got
collapsing, and we need to demand it. And once people realize what it's going to cost, I think the American people will wake up.
Mark, we've got a 1-minute break, and I have another guest in 3 minutes anyways. Can we come back and just do 2 more minutes? You can finish up with solutions and tell folks about the website. Can you come back and finish up in 1 minute?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, fantastic. Marc Morano, climatedepot.com. Our site's Infowars.com. We've got the Climate Depot up on screen. Climate exorcism, 7th grader wins global warming essay contest. We're being haunted. We desperately need an exorcist. All the kids' TV shows I turn on with my children, it's climate monsters are going to kill you. Skeleton monsters are climate, they're going to get you. I mean, this is the total takeover by the control freaks, by the collectivists. In closing, talking to one of the preeminent individuals out there fighting this, Marc Morano, climatedepot.com. Mark, you're saying it's beginning to collapse. It is, as you've said, as all the evidence is, as you know, the ice caps that we're saying were melting. Well, they always melt in areas in the summer, and then it got even bigger in the winter. You were talking about, you haven't talked about how Mars ice cap was getting smaller. Now it's getting bigger. The sun has cooled off. That's the main driver. How do we beat them? I mean, how do you see this falling? Because their whole world government taxing scheme is based on the phony carbon control system, as the New York Times said, a tax on breathing. How do we beat them, and why are they collapsing?
Well, it's collapsing scientifically. It's how to beat them. The environmental left always has to have an eco scare, whether it's overpopulation, whether it's disappearing rainforest, the Amazon, whether it's global cooling in the 70s. And actually, the rainforest scare, if you recall, Sting's Rainforest Foundation, all the Hollywood celebrities, that was the big issue du jour in the 80s and 90s. The New York Times was forced to admit in January of this year that rainforests for every acre cut, 50 are growing back. People are leaving the jungles. They're returning to nature. They quoted a scientist saying maybe it wasn't such an urgent cause after all to save the rainforest. In other words, they're the most intact forest, least threatened on the planet, and now that whole issue's died. But no one's out there saying sorry. You don't see Sting out there apologizing. I don't even think he does his concerts anymore. If he does, he doesn't get any attention with them. They've moved on to global warming. So I think what's going to happen is global warming will die when the next eco scare comes along.
And what is that?
Spoof. I don't know yet. There's some people worried about whether we have enough oxygen. There's people that are going to go after either whether it's species. I don't know. Who knows? They're always very creative and clever. You don't know what the next scare is going to be. And it's not to say, I want to be clear here. You can't denigrate. There's a lot of scientists that are concerned about this. But I think what's happened is a lot of scientists who should know better are basically jumped on a bandwagon that has tens of billions of dollars involved in it. So say you study frogs. You do a study on frogs, no one really pays attention. You do a study on how global warming may impact frogs in the year 2040, suddenly you're getting funding, your university's getting press releases, you're getting radio calls. So it's not that the scientist is necessarily doing anything wrong. He's just going along with the scientific tenor of the day, and it happens to be global warming because that's where all the money and attention is. So I'm not here doing a blanket denunciation. Not all scientists are Al Gore or even the United Nations. Many of them are concerned and they move forward. But the bottom line is, you know, even if we faced a climate crisis, nothing Washington or the UN has proposed would have any.
Well, that was my final point, is I looked at the
Yes.
studies. If only the U.S. and Western Europe and Japan made big cuts, all the production would automatically move to third world nations, and it would actually increase greenhouse gases.
Environmentalists are worried it's going to increase emissions. I got to jump here now, but thank you very much. Enjoyed it. And our website's climatedepot.com.
Thank you so much for coming on with us. Perfect.